Hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Well, welcome to the weekend. Everyone having a good weekend? What am I doing? I had a lie-in this morning. It's a novelty. While some of you obviously have been able to relax over the last few months, and deservedly so, in this time of uncertainty, I've had to sort of carry on. So a rare lie-in is still very much a treat for me. But here I am now, ready to do the live with lovely Sarah. And I think we've got Amy today as well. So that's, as Sarah would say, shamazing. Isn't it, Kate? Shamazing. Do you think it's time Sarah created a new word for us, Kate? Or should we just keep shamazing going forever? I've got to be honest, I'm slightly worried that Sarah hasn't clocked that we're over on Facebook now. So I'm half tempted to get I'm half tempted to message her. I'm half expecting a message from her saying, Vic, where's your Instagram live? So we're just going to have to suck it and see. See, literally, the beauty of lives is to see what's happening. Hi, Tanisha. How are you all? Are you all okay? Have you got any exciting news? Have you got any positive news? Let's put our Jackie hat on a moment. Have you got anything planned for the weekend? It's been really lovely to see so many of you coming in and actually talking to me about the competitions that you guys are doing on your horses. It's so good to be doing that again. Definitely needs a new one. Yeah, I think we need to find one, don't we? We need Sarah to make us up one of her new hodgepodge amazeball words that we can all adopt, because it was Sarah that did shamazing for me. Right, I'm going to send her a message because I don't think she's clocked that we're over on Facebook. Kind of another new jumper, lovely Kate. It's the ringside, and it's while we're kind of waiting for the blue riding tights to arrive and be approved. So I've been quietly sampling some new designs, and this is like fluffy. It's kind of textured. I quite like it on a new blue merle, but this was the design that we had changed into the curved Equiboodle equestrian outfitters. So ignore that. Ignore my chest. If you can. Right. Where is she? I'm going to send her a message saying we are over on Boodlebox. We are on Facebook in case you're waiting for me on Insta. She's not recording. For me on Insta. Oh, she's here. Here she is. Didn't even need to. She's coming. I'll be able to get her name right today rather than repeatedly referring to her as Sarah Newton as if I've never met her in my entire life. It says we're adding. It says so. Hi, Rebecca. You had a lovely lesson the other day, didn't you? I think that was at Sarah's as well. So that was super cool. It's just flashing adding. Come on, Facebook. You can do it. You've got this, Facebook. You've got the technology to add Sarah to our live. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Well, it's just flashing adding at me. Maybe Sarah. Hi, Fran. How are you, gorgeous? You sure did have a lesson at Sarah's. It was amazing. Can't wait for the next one. Yes, that's amazing. Oh, Sarah, it says no answer from the live guest video. I'll go again.
I think I've got a new phone, and oh my goodness, it just seemed to go all a bit wrong there for a minute. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, look, it's only 1:05. That's quite quick going for most of my lives with my guests nowadays. Don't you worry.
Well, thank goodness I'm here. Phew.
Don't panic. I I'm such a pro at these now. I could just chunter away at people for an hour if I needed to.
Bless you. Well, you did yours yesterday, didn't you, on your own? And you're just such a pro at these now. You probably don't need me at all.
I just feel like I know everybody so well now that I just literally just chat, and then I just go, well, I'm off now, bye. And here's a lovely display, and I'm going now, bye. So, what have you got lined up for us today?
Well, first things first, I wanted to just show off my new, improved, beautiful, just painted tack room, just so that you could see it. How do I switch it? Oh, yeah. With that one, I think. So all just sparkly and beautiful.
Oh my God.
All this. Well, it just cost me a fortune to have it painted, so I thought I'd better show it off.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, look at that whiteboard.
I know. Oh yeah, there's an awful lot goes on that whiteboard. There you go.
Yeah, but you've marked it out, and it used to just be a plain whiteboard.
Well, that's Amy's thing, actually. Amy's been on that, and it looks really good, doesn't it? So she's a superstar girl. I just want to show off my tech room. So sorry about that. But what are we actually talking about today? Well, we've got a different horse today because you've had lovely Amy riding her Grand Prix horse, or nearly Grand Prix horse, Alfie. And today I thought we'd try something a little bit different. So we've got Millie, who the daughter of Andy, who I rent the yard of, has got a lovely horse called Tom. And Amy has recently taken over the ride. And the great thing about Tom is, for a lot of riders that might be watching this, he is a very talented, lovely horse, but he's not at Grand Prix. He is working at sort of elementary level. And he can do a bit of half pass and things, but he's just learning the sort of the ropes with that. And I thought we could show how a slightly greener horse we might work. And in particular today, I wanted to think about straightness coming down the centre line, because we cannot escape those centre lines. Getting the horse to work, what sort of things the judge might be looking for at that sort of levels, from sort of prelim to elementary. Dreaded transitions, because again, we can't get away from centre lines or transitions, all of which have to be really good. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about your mental preparation for a show, because
yes.
Because I had someone, I've been flat out teaching all morning as usual, and I had a girl almost in tears arrive today, and she's a really good kid, and she's got her first competition after the lockdown. She's a competitor, she's an event rider, but of course after lockdown she hasn't been and done her usual prep, so she's going off to Treaseldown on Monday, and the dressage is going really well. That's fantastic. She said, well, I jumped yesterday, and quite honestly, it feels like the wheels have fallen off. And she was almost in tears. So we did the test. It was fabulous. The horse went really well. And I said, do you know what? We need to talk a little bit about your sort of setup mentally for this competition. And what we need to do is really make sure that you and your horse don't finish on, which you had last night, your show jumping disaster. So we bunged some jumps in the school. Got her going. She jumped absolutely brilliantly, as I knew she could and would be able to. But first of all, we had to have a little chat about her, visualization, making sure that she doesn't go off the back of that awful round and turn up to the competition. You can't do that. If you've had a real disaster, what you want to try and do, obviously if it happens the night before, you really shouldn't have done something that will set you up for a real disaster the night before you go anywhere. But it's always too late then. But if 3 or 4 days before a competition you decide to do something and the wheels fall off, that gives you enough time to just gradually make sure you're set fair for when you actually do the competition on Monday. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that. But and anything that anybody has got any questions about, or just fire away.
So I'll keep an eye on the comments.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of feedback, so I won't talk too much, but I'll fire the questions to you as they come through on the comments.
Do I need to do something my end for feedback?
Sometimes it helps if you've got earphones as well, it seems. But if you haven't, don't worry, because I'm not going to be doing too much chatting.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone.
No, it's just a thing.
And I hope also that on this new format that you can see the school okay, because it's a bit, when I watch you sometimes it's a bit fuzzy.
Well, you're crystal clear at the moment, so actually it's better than it has been over on Insta. So let's give it a whirl.
That's good. I'm just going to pick up my tea. And I thought I'd also introduce you to my new little one,
Is she little?
Well, she's 16.1. She's not very big. And she's also very, very skinny at the moment because she's just, I mean, she's a 5-year-old, but she looks like a 3-year-old, really. But that's fine. You know, she's the right sort of shape. She just needs to furnish up a bit because she's just a little skinny mini at the moment, but she's going to be beautiful.
And is she one for you to produce, or is she one for you?
Yeah, she's one for me. I hope. Sabrina. Let's hope she's not a bitch. Sabrina, come and say hi to everybody. Come and say hi. Oh, oh, that's not a very nice face. Oh, that's a better face. So yeah, Sabrina is she's so beautifully bred. I mean, she's by she's buyed on a hall out of a DiMaggio mare, and she's a Mount St. John, so she's really beautifully bred. But she's 5, and she literally is like a 3-year-old. She's just so pretty, but she's so weak as water. But I got her a little bit cheap because she's weak and way behind as a 5-year-old should be, really. But that's my job. I can transform it hopefully into something that's just gorgeous. So hopefully.
But as you say, such breeding.
Such fantastic breeding. And I'm very excited about her. I hope, it doesn't matter, it takes me a year, does it? It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, so, oh look, she's here. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, that's great for me. Great.
And over there, that's Millie. Millie's the owner of this lovely horse. Now you'll notice also that this horse has a nose net on. Some of you may well have horses that have got a little bit of a head shaking issue. It's usually just in the summer months that this horse reacts. But these are legal. You can wear these to compete. So this little nose net can make all the difference in the world. And some of it is to do with, confidence and understanding, and he just has come on leaps and bounds, hasn't he? He's got more and more confident under Amy. And how long have you been riding him now? About 6 months. Yeah. And you've not competed him yet because of course lockdowns happened. Any idea when you might think about go out on him? Yeah, I agree. We think he's about ready. Well, it'll be a good test today, won't it? Because we can see how he goes. But he's very gorgeous. He's by Travier de Cante, isn't he? Yeah. He was a stallion who went to Grand Prix. Was that under who? Matt Burnett, who is a gorgeous rider. So he's a beautiful rider. So we're hoping that this one might be able to follow his dad. But no pressure, Amy. But she's got one there already. Why not get another one there? So first of all, go and have a little walk around. Let's have a look at him go, Danny. And again, for anyone who's concerned, I'm stood by a ventilated massive door. So although we're in an indoor, I am not in there with her. Is that better, Vic? If I turn that, I've got it. Do you have it? What's landscape the other way? I've got it portrait.
No, that's absolutely fine. And for anybody that's watching that hasn't watched before, Sarah's internet does dip in and out. So at the moment, it's a bit pixelated, but it does. No, it's what it does. I just don't want people to start panicking because I know it will come back quite clear again soon.
Okay.
So we'll just carry on, but we can see that he's a lot. I mean, he looks lovely there.
Well, Millie has just scrubbed him within an inch of his life, so he looks absolutely gleaming and beautiful. He's a credit to you, Millie. Actually, looks really good. Well done, super. So here we're just having a little look at the walk. So we're going to warm up this horse as we would do normally, Amy. We're just going to give him an opportunity to have a walk round, thinking a little bit about connection, trying to get the hind leg underneath. Good. And you're just thinking now about sort of energizing the hind leg and connecting him into an accepting contact. So you sort of just gently massage their mouth a little. And she's just going to do a change of direction. And as we've discussed before, the walk is really important because we're looking for a 4-time rhythm, which he has. good relaxation over the back, which could be better. He needs to be a little bit more supple at the moment, a little bit more accepting and loose over the back, but that's what she's working on. But that's good. Good. And there's a nice over track there. So if you look down at the feet, you've got the back legs just to basically go where the imprints of the front legs have been. That's super. Yeah, lovely. Why not give them a little bit of a trot stretch as well? So we just start off by giving them an easy time. We're just riding them on the bridle, not too short in the neck, trying to get a swing over the back. So if you watch his tail when you go past me next time, he's actually doing that really rather nicely. But when we talk about swing in the trot, if you notice, I want you to watch his bum, if you can see it, it's not too pixelated. As you go past me, there's a little bit of swing left and right of the tail. That's what we talk about when we want swing. And that gets better as the horse works a little bit more. Well, it should do.
And as a rider, what do you feel in when the swing starts happening? Does it propel you out of the saddle more? Are you looking for something like that when the horse starts swinging?
It starts to feel like the horse has accepted your aid and becomes more jelly-like underneath you. So instead of being slightly staccato, where everything feels a bit wooden, the rhythm gets very regular, and it feels like when you apply the leg aid, the horse doesn't stiffen against your leg. He sort of molds and moved over off your leg. And you can gently feel the hind leg sort of and the bottom swinging behind you. So that's a really good example. Well done, Amy. So she's, this isn't like a lot of people get thinking that when they're in front of the judge, they have to make it look like one of Carl or Charlotte's horses. At novice, I promise you don't, because that's the finished article. What we're trying to show the judge at the moment is that the horse is swinging and soft and easy, and that's what the judges want to see. They don't want to see something that's firing on all four cylinders and absolutely tight and agitated and tense. Honestly, tension is a real killer. What they want is swinging and soft. That's a very good example. Good girl. Right. So he is actually really good at the walk and really good at the trot. And I'm not saying he's not good at canter, but I would say his weakest pace would be the canter at the moment. And Amy's worked hard to make it a lot better. So it's probably not as weak as it used to be, is it, Amy? But let's have a little look at the canter. And then we can see how we might improve that. So now she's going to show me up because it actually looks really quite good. So she's worked very hard on that canter. And because before he was a little bit long and strung out, not so confident, the rhythm used to be a bit irregular. That has got an awful lot better.
What would she have been doing, Sarah, to improve the canter? What exercises?
Well, you see, it's all to do with getting them stronger and straighter and more supple. Yeah. So there isn't just one exercise we do for that. Remember, we talked last time about the suppling exercises we do in leg yielding and shoulder in and traver. And traver's a particularly good canter exercise to improve the quality. Just trot again, Diane. That's fine. It's great. But it wasn't just the suppleness. With this horse in canter, a lot of it was to do with the use of his hind legs and the balance. Because what he used to do was go to the depths of the earth and end up just like really relying on the rider's hand and almost forgot he had a pair of hind legs underneath him. So what Amy's done a lot, I should imagine, is an awful lot of transition work. So canter, trot, canter, walk, canter. Trying to get him more supple, sure, by doing the suppling exercises. But in particular, trying to help his balance in the canter by engaging the hind legs a little bit more. But we'll let her have a little canter, and then we can actually ask her what she did, because she can tell me, because I haven't helped tremendously with this horse at all.
No.
She has done all this work herself. So from where I saw him, sort of a few weeks ago even, this has improved dramatically. Just shows what a talented young girl this is, you see, that she's worked away, chipped away at those problems, and he has got significantly better.
So will Amy be helping you with Sabrina?
No, I don't think so, because she's not scary. She's not sharp.
No.
What she is weak as water. She needs a lot of physio. She needs the right bitting. So I'm going to get Charlotte Warman out, who was a lady who came last week and did a bitting clinic for me. Really good girl, to come and give me some advice with bits. And obviously, the right sort of tack, all the rest of it, make sure she's super comfortable, which all your lovely stuff from your tack shop, all the right gear. And then we'll work away. And a lot of it, I think, will be lunging and fitting and feeding right and just trying to make her look not like a 3-year-old, But I'm hoping it'll be me because she's not scary. If she gets scared, I'll get Amy on.
Do you need to break her in then, Sarah?
God, no, she's broken. She's broken.
She's broken.
She's a little bit like a yak, I'm afraid, at the moment down the road. She tucks her head all over. But you can imagine that if you are that weak, you've got no musculature, have you, to hold yourself and the rider in the right sort of shape. So I don't mind that. I know I can fix that. Well, I hope I can fix that.
She'll actually be an amazing one for us to watch with you and see her progress. So I'm really looking.
I could get Amy on, so I could chat, and she can show her like when she's weak as water, and then we revisit in a month's time, and then 2 months time, and so on and so forth.
Amazing.
So that you can see, how it goes. So Amy, just turn around a minute, Diane. We'll have a little chat with you, sweetheart. Because I can see a remarkable change in that canter. So much better. What have you done?
About 3 million transitions.
Can you hear that? Millions of transitions.
About 3 million transitions.
So not necessarily chop canter, chop, but within the pace in the canter. So bit on, bit back, and then finding a nice balanced rhythm in between. That he's comfortable with at the time, that can be adjusted to go forward and go backwards.
Whoops.
Lots of leg yielding and things in the canter as well, just to help the suppleness and making sure that he's completely straight. So he builds up the muscle in the correct place to hold himself.
He really has. He has developed so much. This horse was quite weak behind the saddle initially, he's always had this lovely, gorgeous sort of front end, as a lot of horses do. But where they struggle, when they've got a lovely front end like that, often they use that instead of the hind legs, don't they? And then what Amy obviously has done with all that work of that on and back, which is brilliant as an exercise, has reminded the horse he has got a pair of hind legs. And once you remind them they have a pair of hind legs, they start utilising that back. They then start finding better balance rather than on the rider's hand. So really good job. Well done. You look really super. Right, let's go out again.
He does look very smart. Look at those boots and everything.
Beautiful. So, Amy, I thought we would, now you've had a little warm-up, just pick him up into a slightly more sort of competition type outline, because as you said, in a few weeks or so, you'll be thinking about taking him out anyway. So you saw the lovely swinging soft horse we had earlier. Now, when you pick them up, you still want a lovely soft swinging horse. You don't want it full of tension and swishing its tail and crossing its jaw and all the rest of it, because again, your tension will bring your mark down. But you do want to make the horse start to look like, even your novice horses, actually, you want them to start looking like the ears and the poll. That's just in between the ears, that's where the poll is. You've got to have that as the highest point, and you've got to start making the horse look like he's up through the shoulders and the withers. And you've almost got to imagine that the hind legs are going to sit a little bit more underneath you. So the front end goes up, the back stays up, and the hind legs start sitting a little bit more underneath. Good. And I'd give him a little gentle touch just behind the saddle there to engage that hind leg. Oh dear, bless him, he tripped. Slight misunderstanding there, that's okay. And you might get a little bit of tension just as you wind the hind legs up a bit, that's okay. But what you don't want to do is show that in front of the judge. Well done. Yeah, lovely, really super. Good. That's it, so that uphill way of going, lovely, really nice, very handsome. Good. And then
does look very handsome there.
Very beautiful. I think when you're a kid, don't you think, I mean, he's still beautiful now, but I can imagine when I was 12, I would have just died and gone to heaven if I'd had a horse like this. He is just so perfect.
He's like Barbie's horse.
Absolutely. He looks exactly like Barbie's. He's exactly like that. Yeah, so once you've got that walk sort of established in front of you there, Amy, let's go forwards trot. And then I want you to go large. And we'll do some upwards and downwards transitions in the corner and some 10-metre circles, because we thought we'd talk today about how to ride a good centre line, because we can't get away from those centre lines, okay? So I'm going to move to the centre line. So what do we do in order to set them up for the centre line? Well, what we do is we get the trot really good, or the canter really good, depending on whether you're coming down in trot or canter. And you engage those hind legs. You make him look up in front. And you slightly get that left shoulder off the wall there, Amy. So she goes along the wall. What she's got to think about is the right hind leg needs to be under his body, and the left shoulder needs to be a little bit off the wall, almost like a shoulder in, shoulder for sort of positioning. Because what that does, that sets you up to get the horse straight and makes the turn much easier coming down the centre line. Just do a 10-metre circle.
Oh, I remember this so well from you and me in our lessons.
Oh, I know. Those dreaded centre lines.
I did love doing it.
Good girl. That's great. And then another 10-metre circle on that side.
So this is to encourage the riders to really start thinking about the bend, is it, as they turn down into the centre line, doing these 10-metre circles?
Absolutely. It sets you up. And what that highlights, like, Amy, can you tell me where you feel you're losing the energy or you're losing the straightness on those 10-metre circles? Because that bit of information will tell you what you need to do prior to going down the centre line. So what is it feeling? Super easy? What's it feeling? Yeah. Yeah. Now, very often, sorry, second half's all right. It's the turning down, away from the wall. Now, remember, you've got to turn away from the wall to get down the centre line. Often, when you come off the right, the horses will fall in the first step around. So you have to almost be a bit braver and leave it a little bit later than you think. Often, I'm not saying that's definitely the case today. And on the left, often you need to turn a little bit earlier than you think in order to get down the centre line. It just depends on the horse, but often that is the case. That looks really good. It's a lovely outline.
Is that more because of the rider, do you think?
No, it's horses and riders as a combination. When you come off the left, most horses, most riders allow the outside shoulder. So when you're on the left rein, that's the right shoulder. They almost allow that to fall out, okay? So because of that issue, you've got to turn that outside shoulder a bit sooner than you think when you come down the centre line on the left. It's all to do with stiffness, and the use of the left hind and the right shoulder and the straightness of the rider. Most riders on the left, as we've discussed before, sit out to the right. So they encourage the horse to leave its shoulder on the wall. So we have to be really aware of our own straightness and try and get them as through the right rein as we can, get the right shoulder off the wall and get the left hind leg engaged and underneath the horse. Yeah. So we'll let Amy do a few this way.
And this is a good exercise for a rider of any level to do, isn't it, as part of their homeschooling?
Definitely. 10-metre circles, if you find that too difficult, do a 12-metre circle. If you find that too difficult, do a 15-metre circle. If you find that too difficult, do a 20-metre circle. And eventually, they will get a bit easier and a bit easier. That's very nice. Good girl. Should we try one? So we're going to give it a go. Now, I am... Oh, just dropping my tea.
On the floor.
I am... at the A marker, so I'm at the wrong end really, but it's easier for the Wi-Fi. Good turn, positive entry, and then a little wobble and a fall off to the right. But that happens. But the actual setting up of the exercise by doing those 10-meter circles and getting the hind leg underneath and getting control of the shoulder made the first part of the centre line very, very good. There's just a bit of, the horses need a moment or two just to get confident and not have that wobble. That's really good. Yeah. Yeah, super. So that's better and better.
Everyone's staring at the screen here. Everyone's just staring at his legs. They're coming towards us.
The try went off the left. Sorry, it's probably very small on your screen. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh, slight falling out through the right shoulder. Oh, we slightly went in travers. So the control on the turns, Amy, is fantastic, all right? What we have to do is probably think a little bit about once you're on the centre line. Now, as I say, for some horses, it just takes a little bit of time, a bit of confidence. Do you know what's happening? Is she's done so much work on suppling this horse and getting him shoulder in, travers, all the rest of it. He is just trying too hard to give her all these sorts of things that he's been giving her. And really, we now have to say to him, do you know what? We just now need you straight. So this time you come down again, Amy, and you are going to imagine you're on a runway and you are just literally going to keep him between leg and hand, absolutely 100% straight. The turn is very good at the top.
It's actually really interesting to see the horse fall out of the centre line, because when you're riding it, you don't quite see what we are now seeing.
Excellent. Excellent. Good girl. Very well done. All right. Now change the rein. Big pats for him. That was super. Good girl.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get it as straight as that. A good trot as well. Yeah. So. Channel it. Channel. That's okay. It's slightly the left hind on that one. All right. Just, I mean, I am being so blooming picky. She's doing an amazing job, but you know, in order to get an 8 or a 9, we need to not let that little left hind poke out like that at the end. All right. So you have got to, your turn is good. You've got to channel that right rein and that left hind. Well, that was super. Right. Give him a stretch. That was super. Long rein, big pat, good girl. Really super.
And what's best to do the centre line in? Trot like that, or walk if you're not feeling so confident?
Yeah, you know, the walk, if you're at the moment and your horse is a little bit, like, for instance, if I started to think about doing centre lines with Sabrina, who is weak as water, and basically terrible down the rein, terrible off my legs, all of it. I could not even attempt to come down the centre line in trot. But even yesterday, when I tried her, what I did was do little 10-meter circles in walk. So just in walk, she's so weak, she needs the time. So I did my 10-meter circles in walk, discovered where the stiffnesses and the tightnesses were, helped her do a little bit of leg yield one way, a little bit of shoulder positioning on the other way. And then I would start just gradually turning her down the centre line from a sort of half 10-meter circle, go a few steps straight, then, go back onto my half circle again, because she's not at all ready to do anything much more than that. But eventually, as she gets stronger, I will be able to do it from trot. And then eventually, we'll be able to do it in canter. Have you done any in canter yet, Amy? So, yeah. Now, you don't get asked to turn down the centre line in canter until advanced medium level. But then you can't get away from it after that. You've got to keep doing it. So once you get confident in walk, and once you get confident in trot, and once you feel the canter has started to get some engagement and some collection, which this horse clearly has now, you can start thinking about doing the same exercises that you did in trot. You can start thinking about doing in canter. So when you're ready, Amy, let's pick him up in canter. And we'll do the same exercise. Just do that one again, because he was a little bit hollow. Yeah, he's off.
The engine is engaged.
Absolutely. That was a million times better. Now, if you notice there, hit the first transition he did, because he'd had a walk, he'd got a little bit behind the aids, he'd gone a little bit, the engine had quite sort of cut out. So as she asked for the canter transition, the horse, quite rightly, threw his head up in the air, dropped his back, and he went into canter in a hollow way. If that happens in a test, you're on a 6, okay? So, you know, we're a mean judge, you might even get a 5, because obviously that's not what we want to see. Oh, off she goes, straight away down the centre line, no prep at all, and it's pretty damn good. Good girl. Right, now just do that again, but this time we do a little bit of prep with the 10-metre circles. But she's just showing off that, so I don't need to prep, I can just do it. Good girl. That's the way. Almost better in canter than it was in trot, I have to say. Very good. All right, let's try again. Good girl. Just a little help with the right leg so he doesn't slightly fall in. Really good. Oh, you need to start going out to the gym, I think. Well done. Okay, good girl. Now just have a little trot, big pat, because that, I mean, honestly, I can't tell you how different this horse's canter is and how much better his balance is. Impossible, probably even, you know, a couple of months ago. So, you know, hats off, Amy. What a great job you've done with him. I mean, that looked really super. Is it as good as that on the left rein? No. We've peaked. He's
Yeah, Amy, do you want me to take Sarah away now for our chat?
That's it. We peaked. That was really super. Good. Very, very good. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. You know, there's always one where it's like, you know, and most of us, I mean, I don't know about you, Amy, but I love coming off the centre line, down the centre line in canter on the right rein. But I mean, we can't always choose to, because sometimes yeah, we're all the same. I'm the same, and we must obviously practice coming off the left, because at that Grand Prix test, honestly, it's all off the left rein in canter. But you know, it is often easier for horse and rider off the right rein. Yeah, good with your prep there, actually. Looked good. The circle looked good. The prep looked good. It didn't look difficult. The turn. It is slightly that right shoulder that's a little bit more naughty on this rein. And it's just, again, that engagement of the left hind. So go large. So you can just slightly quicken up that left hind leg along the wall on the next long side there, Amy.
Sarah, how old is this horse? Do you know?
How old is he? He's 13. So he's not a young man, but so it goes to show that you can train them regardless of how old they are. Because this is quite...
I only asked because a friend's just joined Amy, and she's got a 17-1, if not bigger, Palomino, and I can just see her visualising this being her and her boy soon.
Absolutely. Good girl. So she's riding that a little bit more like a shoulder in, like a shoulder forward position, which I think is very clever. Because when we saw him in the trot, the left hind leg on this rein was poking out. So what she did is ride it very much more, like it's not straight on that centre line, but what it is she's riding it straight by riding it like a little bit shoulder in positioning, which I think is very clever riding. Very clever riding. Good girl. Right. So you've done that as your prep. Now you've got to be brave, and you've got to try and do that without the if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But we can't go down the centre line and shoulder in, can we? We've just got to be able to use it as a prep. And now you've got to think, right, I am going to be as straight as a die. Well ridden. Very good girl, because that's not easy. Super. Big pat for him. Well done. Okay, wow. So again, you know, that wasn't perfect, but from where she was, she sensibly knew that that left hind wants to creep out. So she thought, right, I'm going to go down the centre line the first couple of times, and I'm going to ride it in a shoulder in positioning, which basically means you slightly position that shoulder that wants to creep out, that left shoulder over. You put the inside hind leg underneath it, and you ride it in that very slight shoulder forward positioning, and then you give the horse the idea, you make him confident doing that, and then you've got to say, right, okay, well, let's just risk it. Let's just risk it and see if we can go actually super straight. And it was pretty damn good, I have to say. You see some horses that are established at medium, advanced medium, that don't come down the centre line quite as straight as that. And that's his tricky rein, isn't it, on that canter? So it just goes to show what you can do when you really play around with those transitions, you really play around with that sideways stuff, and you engage the horse's hind leg, you get his back working, and you help him with his balance. Because a lot of his issues before was he would sort of go to the depths of the earth. He'd start pulling on the rider's hand, and instead of having that lovely engaged hind leg and feeling like you can position the front end where you wanted to go, it felt like he was just, I say, diving to the depths of the earth, and you can't position the shoulders where you want them to go then. How did that feel to ride that left one there, Amy? Yeah, more prep. See, the thing is, she was so super confident on the right rein. She just knew off she went and straight down the set line. She did absolutely blooming perfectly. But I think without doing that slight 10-metre circle shoulder in prep on the left, it would have perhaps lost a bit of confidence, the horse, lost a little bit of the straightness, and instead of having a lovely progression where things went right, unfortunately, that's where things start to go wrong, and the horse lose confidence, and the rider starts to lose confidence. So if we just have a look at the horse just walking around on a long rein there, Amy, really super. So we know this horse has a very, very slight head shaking issue. Very slight. I mean, it's hardly anything to write home about at all now. But when Amy gave him a completely loose rein, you can see there is a very slight sort of tendency to flick. So what I would say free walk now, Amy, is just massage his mouth a little, because what a lot of people go wrong in the free walk on a long rein, they think you have to completely abandon the rein. Now, it is a loose rein, not a completely abandon, throw the rein at the horse sort of feeling in the free walk on a long rein. So with a horse like this, you don't have to abandon ship completely. You still need to have a loose rein, but you can massage very slightly the sides of his mouth to say, stay confidently there. That's the way. Just stay with me and energize. And I think a little bit, again, he sometimes in the walk cuts out. So instead of pushing with that hind leg, he very fractionally starts to lose a bit the positivity and the forward thinking. And that also allows him to slightly bob his head and neck. So we have to make sure that we have real purpose in the free walk. That's lovely. Good girl. And back across the diagonal again. And you've got to think, right, I've got to have real purpose and ground cover. Good girl. But of course, again, not with tension, not with an irregular step, and also not not looking fast and hurried. You want it positive, ground cover, and just riding the horse's hind leg forward into your connection. Good. Well done. Well done. Very nice.
Well, you've had no questions as well, so people obviously have just been sat just soaking this up. Now we've only got sort of 10 minutes left, so did you want to have a chat with us today about pre-competition preparation and all of that?
Yes, I did. So come over, Amy, and we'll just use you as a someone to chat to, really. So just come over and halt him there, because obviously, you haven't taken this horse out before. Oh, he's going to really let me just go to the side so we can see you. I was just talking earlier that I had a lovely girl turn up for lesson today, quite teary, because the prep for her competition on Monday had gone slightly awry. She jumped last night and the wheels had fallen off. And that happens to all of us sometimes, doesn't it, when we're sort of getting prepped and ready for a competition. You and I are going out on Wednesday. I'm going to do another Grand Prix. You're going to do an interview. I know, yeah, well, exactly. But I'm saying we'll talk about mental preparation, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel sick. But, and I know that I should be telling myself completely the different story, and I need to probably talk to Jackie McCormick about this, because, it's those little steps and all that. And I think one thing that I need to be really aware of, and Amy needs to be really aware of when she goes out on Wednesday is there is a lot of things in that test that we can do very, very well. There are a few things that we can do them, but we probably can't do them for an 8. But instead of stressing about all the things that we can't do and just focusing on the things that we can't do, what we have to try and do is visualize A, the test going brilliantly, and B, remind ourselves that there's an awful lot that we can do within the test very, very well, and sort of highlight those bits and not spend all the time in the test stressing about the things that we find difficult and then fluffing the things that we can do very, very well. So just talking about your mindset, Amy. Amy is a cool customer when it comes to, well, generally, I say this, she's a bit mindful, but she is a cool customer when it comes to sort of going down the centre line. So what sort of, you know, when we sat down the other day, Amy, and we went through the forms and we sort of talked about your mental preparation for going down the centre line, what sort of things do you think you've got control? Because there's things that we get control of and there's things we've got absolutely no control of. So what do you think you've got in control?
Well, you're in control of your own mindset. You can't think about what anyone else is doing, really. You've just got to ride your own test and your own, like...
Yeah, no, you've absolutely, that is so spot on. How many of us are in that warm-up arena and we are looking at everyone else in that arena and we're thinking, oh my God, they all look like Carl, Hester and Charlotte. And sometimes, of course, I am in there with Charlotte and Carl, which is very intimidating, but you just got to, so you just got to go, okay, I'm on my own journey here. And you're absolutely spot on. It is your journey, it is your test, it's your horse. We all have our own strengths and weaknesses, and what you mustn't be is looking at everyone else and worrying for a minute about what they are doing. It is irrelevant. Yeah. You are in complete control of your own destiny and your own mental mindset. You're absolutely right, Amy. And there's other things that we can do. Obviously, we can make sure that our prep is correct. We can make sure that the horse's prep is correct. We can feed it correctly. We can make sure we've had good training. Some horses are very, very hot, aren't they? So those ones probably need to have a little lunge in the morning, or perhaps need to go out in the field the night before, so you don't turn up to the... Because remember, Custard used to be a bit like that, Vic. He used to be a bit tricky at a competition. So for your mental preparation, what we would have to do is make sure that the horse was in the right sort of... Oh, he's got an itch. Was in the right sort of mindset himself to be able to go down the centre line. So he could do with a night out in the field, couldn't he? But if you've got a horse that's lazy as, the last thing you want to do is put him out for a night in the field, because you want to have him probably a little bit hotter and a little bit sharper. So there's lots of things you can do in the prep to make sure that the horse is in the right frame of mind. And then when it gets to the competition, visualization is really important. You really knowing your test is really important, because if you're stressing going in that warm-up and you're thinking, I cannot for the life of me remember what that test is, then your prep probably hasn't been quite good enough. All right, so there's things that you are in control of, and there's things that you can do to make sure that those silly little things are under wraps and sorted. You just walk him now, done.
Maeve's put that her horse needs turbo flakes. Well, Maeve, if you ever want to sell that horse, give me a shout. I'd love a horse that needed turbo flakes and not a night out in the field before a competition.
I know.
I'd love that.
That's it.
Do you know what, though? I think we could actually have you and me doing a proper live just about pre-competition preparation, because I reckon you could actually give riders a really good bullet point technique of how to prepare for competitions, because you have literally just said it's about the horse, it's about what you're feeding your horse, it's about what you do with the horse before a competition. And I bet you there's a lot of people out here that might not even think about some of the things that for you come naturally.
Oh, you're so right. And I think obviously we're very important, but the horse is 50% of the partnership. So, of course, if he's not super ready and prepared, if he's flat as a pancake, he's not well prepared. If he's jumping out of his skin and wild as wild can be, he's not prepared. So if there's anything that you can do prior to the competition to make that significantly better. And then for lots of us, it's making sure you give yourself a chance to run through the test a few times, whether that's with a trainer or on your own, so you don't feel that you turn up and it's literally the first time you've done it. Because I know some people learn their test on the way to a competition. Well, I'm sorry, that is not good prep. You've got to know what's in the test, and you've got to practice what's in the test. You've got to give the horse half a chance before you go down that centre line. And if you've done no prep, then of course the wheels are going to fall off and it's not going to feel good. So I think you're right. I think next time we can actually talk about this properly, and we can talk about the bullet points, and I can come a little bit more prepared as well, thinking about all the things that we do here in order to make sure that the riders, like having a good plan. Often riders are warming up and they don't have a good plan, and you think, well, no wonder the wheels fall off, because you've just went around a million miles an hour in a canter that was on the wrong leg, and then you went down the centre line. You've got to make sure that your prep is good, and then you give yourself every opportunity to get a good mark.
There's a saying, isn't there? I'm going to swear, but it's like piss poor preparation. I don't know the rest of it though.
Well,
if anybody knows the one that I mean, can you write it in the comment, because it keeps pinging into my head.
Now, I tell you what, I'm just going to go over to because I can't remember it, but just very quietly, well, very loudly, really. What was it?
The 4 P's. Poor preparation equals piss performance.
There you are. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear her.
Again, really louder.
Poor preparation equals piss performance.
Poor preparation equals piss poor performance.
Thank you, Millie.
Yeah. Do you know what? I honestly have never heard that before, but what a great little saying, because it's absolutely right. Absolutely true. Good. Well.
Oh, well, it's absolutely lovely to see Amy on a horse that, we love Alfie, but it's lovely just to see how beautifully she rides a horse that isn't Alfie, so that we can take away that myth that maybe it's just her and Alfie that are absolutely amazing together. Amy truly is a beautiful rider, isn't she?
She really is a beautiful rider. And not just a beautiful rider, like a trainer as well. She started to use all those skills that she's learned along the way, and starting now to produce not just one horse, not two horses, but a variety of horses. And that's what happens. And particularly when you've been good enough to produce a horse at the levels, almost as I say to Grand Prix, the things that you learn there along the way are just invaluable for your next one, and then your next one, and your next one. So instead of being nearly 50, which I am, Amy is 21 and has produced a horse up to Grand Prix. So you can imagine when she's my age, what's she going to be like then? She'll be when she's much younger. But you know what I mean? It's amazing to me. I didn't really know what diagonal I was on most of the time when I was 20. So, the fact is these kids now are so good. They're so good. And it just is so brilliant and exciting to see. I just think, because from a horse's perspective, the better the young people are as they come up through the levels, the more understanding they have the biomechanics of horses, and they have and they work so hard at producing horses up the levels. Some do get its hand on the plate, I get that, some do, but most of us are pretty skint, and most of us have to produce a horse from scratch. So the skills you learn along the way are invaluable for your next one, and your next one, and your next one. And she's a really good kid, so she's going to go far, I think.
She's a pleasure, isn't she, to have around?
Yes.
Well, really. I'm going to have to wind this up now, because I've got to go and open up the shop. But thank you to Millie for letting us use her horse.
Thank you, Millie.
And to Amy for riding said horse so wonderfully. And thank you to you, Sarah, for, as ever, your just lovely interpretation of your training, and you just being you.
Well, thank you. I hope you could see it okay. And as I say, it's lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for giving me this platform. And we'll come up with some other ideas next time.
Well, I love the idea of competition preparation. If you don't mind putting in a little bit of preparation, so you can carry on divulging your trade secrets, almost your top tips. Now, Boodlebox over on Facebook is more of a community now that you can share things that you're getting up to, so the whole group can keep an eye on how you are going and your page. So could you share with us any news from Wednesday? Could you share it over on Boodlebox?
Yeah,
Or any
definitely.
quickies?
Yeah, warts and all. I mean, if it's a disaster, it's a disaster. Nothing I can do about that. But we'll do. Hopefully, it'll be amazing. But yeah, very, very happy to share. And we'll talk then. That's great.
Amazing. Oh, brilliant, darling. Well, lots of love. I'll talk to you soon anyway. But from
Super.
all of us, thank you.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
lovely.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.